Okay, here we go. My name is Chef Scott. I'm the owner and chef of Lost River Catering. This is my son Owen. He's going to be my little helper today. And we're going to do a video on basic knife skills. And we're going to be making a nice fruit salad here. And we'll be showing you the different types of knives that we use. But whenever a student goes to culinary school, it's important to know that they're going to be taught all of the knives. And in a general class, there's about 6 or 7 that you are presented with, ranging from your, let me pull it out of here, your slicer. All right, you got your paring knife. All right, you've got your French knife, or sometimes they call it the chef knife. You have the bread knife. This is an offset bread knife. And then occasionally if you're doing stir fry, you might use a Chinese chef knife. So that's occasionally, and that's used for picking up things. So, but I've been able to narrow it down to about 4. And that's the offset bread knife, the French knife, the paring knife, and the one that I didn't bring up was the boning knife. Okay, so the boning knife is occasionally used if you're doing some type of deboning of chicken. Generally is what you're taught to use that, or turkey or something like that. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to make a really nice basic Italian fruit salad. It's a very easy fruit salad to make. It's one that we'll probably end up using 2 of the knives here, and I'll explain why I'm using each knife, right, to give you kind of an understanding, right? So we're going to start off with our bowl. There's about 4 or 5 ingredients, and I've made this recipe countless times for family, friends, in the places where I've worked. So we're going to start with our bowl here. We're going to go ahead and start by putting straining our mandarin oranges, the juice of it. All right, and we're going to create what is called the base. All right, the base. And so this is a nice fruit salad. Like I said, it's an easy one. I just had a Christmas party I went to recently, and I did the fruit salad. It's just a base. The comment, it's okay. It's okay. So we're going to mix that with about 2 tablespoons of honey. That's the dryer going off. It's fine. Just ignore it. You're working in a commercial kitchen. There's going to be lots of loud noises and things like that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to stir this in. Those of you who don't know what this is called a whisk. All right, so you're just going to stir this in a little bit, right, till it's a nice, what I like to call a base. And that's going to be what we're starting with, okay? All right. So you've got your mandarin orange juice. You've got about 2 tablespoons of honey. I kind of eyeballed that, so it might be a little bit off. That's okay. Should be runny. That's how you know you've done it correctly. All right, and the next thing I'm going to cut is this pineapple here. Now, most fruits you have to wash really well. We washed our strawberries, we washed our grapes. Obviously, the canned mandarins, we don't have to mess with those, our blueberries. But since a pineapple has a shell on it, you really don't need to wash it. You're not going to eat any of the outer exterior part of it, so you're just going to eat the inside of it. So we're going to start by cutting off the ends. Okay, so we're going to cut off the top, right? And I'm using a bread knife. Now, a lot of people would say to use a French knife on this, and I don't prefer the French knife because the French knife is wider than the bread knife, and so when you go to turn, sometimes you end up having too wide of a turn, and you end up cutting a lot of it off. You really want this thing to be really, really, really kind of sharp turn because it's not a straight down cut. Okay, so we've got our top. We're going to pull that off to the side. We're going to cut the bottom off. Okay, you doing okay, Owen? Mm-hmm. Okay, you watching this? Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to slowly go all the way around the pineapple. Just kind of slowly cutting off that shell. Now, if you do these little pits, some chefs don't want to see any pits. Some chefs are, or whatever. So it's just kind of your individual preference. I like to get most of them off. I really don't want to have too many of them on because it does look, for presentation wise, it doesn't look that good. But that was a good cut right there. That was a lot better than, you can see the difference between that cut. These aren't as good here. So I'm probably going to end up doing a little bit of cleanup near the end anyway. And we're going to just cut this off. Owen, you want to grab that garbage can for me, please, sir? Sure. All right. While Owen's grabbing that garbage can, I'm going to bring this over here. Thank you, sir.
It's heavy.
It is heavy. All right, so we're going to go ahead and sweep all of our parts in here. We're going to go ahead and sweep the bottom in there as well. And so you should have this nice part. Now I'm going to clean this up a little bit because it's not, you don't want that green pit showing or anything like that. If you have a little bit, that's okay. It's not a big deal. got there?
My stuff.
Nice. What's his name? Or her name?
Spunky.
Spunky. All right, so Spunky's helping us out too. So next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna cut this in half, all right? And different chefs are gonna have you do different things, but the way I was taught was always, once you have it in half, go ahead and cut it at an angle or a bias and get that center out. And sometimes it goes all the way through like I just did, and that's okay. It's not a big deal if it does. What you really wanna have is this nice triangle shape right here. And that's half of the core. You're gonna do the same thing on the other side. You're gonna cut it at about a 45-degree angle. And that one was much easier. Got that nice core out. I've done this so many times, I'm kind of like I almost could do it in my sleep. So now you should have quarters. All right, so we're gonna cut each of the quarters in half, and then we're gonna cut this long ways, and then we're gonna dice them like this. All right, so you should have a really large dice, almost a chunk really. It's not really even a dice at that point. Do the same thing over here. I'm gonna cut a little bit more of this off because I can see that some of that didn't get cut off. So we got that off there. Now we're gonna cut this in quarters. So you've cut 8 parts. You've had quarters and then you cut it in half again, so it made 8. So now you're gonna do the chunks. All right. And so the next step is I'm gonna go ahead and put this into the base. And from this point on, it's pretty smooth sailing. Okay. I mean, it's really not much after this. Okay, that was the hard part. The next thing we'll do is we'll go ahead and cut up some grapes. We're going to throw the grapes in. I don't really like grapes that are loose, so any grape that's been lost, it's a goner. Generally they're mushy anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and just kind of pull these grapes off. Oh,
I have it.
Yeah, of course. They've been washed. So we're going to just pull these grapes right off. These are seedless grapes. I don't like seeded grapes. Like the nice seedless ones you get in the store. And
all of them in there?
Yeah, put them on there. You have fruit salad tomorrow.
Yeah. For breakfast?
Sure.
Where are the stems?
Make sure the stems are off, yeah. So see how I kind of got them all off? So they're all in pretty good shape. So that was pretty quick. Got some blueberries here. They've been washed. You can throw these were left over from another thing you did. So, you know, you had them. Might as well use them. And then the last, good enough, right. And the last thing I'm going to use are my strawberries. Now I can use
bad one.
A bread knife for this. I almost forgot the name of it. A bread knife, but a paring knife is a little bit better, smaller, more precision cuts.
That one looks a little bumpy.
I think it's okay. I think well, what I'll do is when I'm cutting these, I'll make sure that they're not mushy. And if they're mushy, they just go in the trash. You know what I'm saying? So I'm kind of checking them out anyway. So I'm going to quarter these. That means I cut off the stem, and then I cut them into fourths. Pretty easy stuff. You know, these are pretty good sized strawberries. And I'm going to be honest with you, I may not use all of these. These are really big. I don't want this, I might use them, might as well. And so we're going to cut them in half and cut them in fourths. I'm using the paring knife to do this. And see, notice I'm working pretty fast.
Dad?
So we're about 8 minutes into this video. What?
Are we going to use
the mandarin oranges?
Or are we just use the juice?
We're going to use the oranges as well. That's the last thing we throw in. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Almost done.
We're going to mix it up at the end, right?
We're going to mix it all up, and I'm going to show you a fast way to mix it up. Okay?
Spoon, right?
Nope. I'm not going to use a spoon. I'm not going to use anything except gravity. Now,
you're gonna put like a lid on it, then you're gonna.
No, now you want to do that.
Oh.
I'll show you. And when you become a chef, which you're already on your way to doing, because you do a lot of cooking with me, you'll be able to do this easily. It just takes practice. Now that one strawberry, just that one I threw away, that one was a little bit mushy. So you have to kind of go through there, and if there's any, it probably could have gone in there, but it was kind of close, and I didn't really want to. You know, if it's close.
Only the good for the good strawberries.
Yeah, you won't leave that, especially if you're serving it in a restaurant or something like that. You don't want your guests to. All right, so the last thing I'm gonna throw in here is, so here's what I've got so far. Pretty basic stuff. I'm gonna throw the mandarin oranges. Now, how do we mix them? Okay, you can stick your hands in there. I don't really have gloves though, so one of the things I like to do is just give it a good turn, just like you do with the saute pan. Just give it a. So what you're doing is you're pushing out and then bringing it back.
That looks really good.
It looks good.
Some might fall out.
Yeah, some might fall out. That's okay. All right. So we're doing great. That's nice and pretty. It's got all that juice on it. Okay. So we're going to do now. We're going to toss that. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to put it in a bowl. Right. And something I like to do when I was working in the hotel industry, is always presentation always matter. Now a lot of people don't like having this sitting on top of their fruit, and I get it. But it's it's basically the fruit side of it that's going to be touching it. So you can always kind of push that down in there and kind of move your fruit to kind of cover up, and that way you have a nice presentation. And this took about 10 minutes to make from start to finish. It was very easy, and it required 2 knives. So what we're going to do over time is we're going to show you different types of things that require different types of knives. So
and remember, we're gonna do long videos on stuff like YouTube and stuff, but the short ones like movies and stuff are on Instagram.
Yeah, this is a longer one, and so it's going to be on YouTube. This is actually our first video, but our shorter videos are going to be on Instagram. They're only 90 seconds, so we have to kind of so sometimes you'll see things that are like the end product on Instagram of what we've been doing here, so you can kind of switch back and forth and see different stages of it. But I'm going to go ahead and sign off here with Owen, and we'll see you pretty soon for another video. We're going to be doing these pretty regularly. All right.
Donkey says goodbye.
Goodbye.